To be honest, I have limited to no knowledge about military aircraft, but what I do know is that the Transall is about to be retired with the German Air Force. And since I have one model of this aircraft type in my collection, I thought if we don't take a look at it now, when then? And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a close look at a Transall C-160 of the German Air Force, also known as Luftwaffe. At the front of the box we have a cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and above that we find the Luftwaffe logo. On the back side of the box we then have a lovely image of the aircraft in flight, and we are provided with a web link from Herpa Wings where we're supposed to get more information about the aircraft model. Unfortunately, this web link does not work anymore. So that's all for the box. Let's take a close look inside and at the aircraft model itself. And here she is, the Transall C-160. Oh, hold on. This aircraft model is of course camouflaged, which means you can't actually see it. I think we need to do some tricks in the edit. Alright, there you go, much better. Now you can see the aircraft. So here we have the Transall C-160 in one of the many liveries that the German Air Force has applied to their Transall aircraft. The Transall was initially developed in a joint venture between France and Germany with the explicit goal of developing a transport aircraft that would meet the requirements of a modern transport aircraft for the French and German air forces, and that already back in 1963. So with almost 60 years in service, the upcoming retirement in the German Air Force is not just needed, but also well deserved. But without further ado, let's take a closer look at the aircraft model itself to see what it actually has to offer. And we start off with a look at the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer find the flag of the Federal Republic of Germany. Underneath that we find a blindfolded raven, which is part of the coat of arms of the Air Transport Wing 62, which this aircraft belonged to. And underneath that we find the writing of Fly Out Wunstorf, which was the airbase the aircraft was stationed at. On the fuselage we then have the full registration code of the aircraft, in this case it is 50+93, and at the front of the aircraft we then find a hatch to the cargo hold, and we actually also have the full coat of arms with the blindfolded raven on top of a blue shield. When we then look at the cockpit section itself, well, we have the cockpit windows with the window wipers, and that I do think Herpa has actually done rather nicely. We do also have the blacked out nose cone. However, when I compare it to images that I found online, I think this area should have been a little bit more enlarged. But other than that, I think it is actually pretty decent. Then we can move on to the engines of the Transall, and I think Herpa has actually done a pretty decent job with actually replicating that. At least when we talk physical detailing, I think there we really cannot complain. And of course, as it is a turboprop, we also have this little nice feature from Herpa Wings where you can actually move the blades. From the engines we can move on to the wings, which we should definitely also take a closer look at, because in my opinion we do actually have some lovely detailing here. Herpa has really done a great job with that. We of course also have the logo of the German Air Force both on top of the wing and also on the underside of the wing. And where I also think Herpa has done a lovely job is with the landing gear. The physical detailing of that is excellent. I can't really talk much about if they're missing printed details. There might be some safety markings here and there that should have been added, but this is just an area where I don't really have the expertise. What I can say is simply that I think the physical detailing of the landing gear is very nice. And when we then look towards the tail of the aircraft again, also here I think Herpa has actually done a lovely job with the physical detailing. I mean, it looks like the main cargo hatch could be opened at the back of the aircraft. It cannot, it's not interactive, it just looks like it. But that alone is actually, I think, a pretty decent job from Herpa. So there we have it, the Transall C-160 in, what should we say, camouflage livery of the German Air Force, of the Air Transport Wing 62 to be precise, from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Herpa traditionally excels with military aircraft. For some reason, all the effort that they leave away with civilian aircraft, they put into military aircraft. That's great if you're collecting military aircraft, because it means that you normally get really awesome aircraft models from Herpa Wings. And although I don't have much experience or expertise with military carry aircraft, I would say that this is probably also one of the cases where Herpa has done pretty well with an aircraft model. Now there's one point that I definitely do want to make and where I also do have some expertise, and that is with aircraft models from Herpa Wings where the wings are mounted on top of the fuselage. For whatever reason, Herpa is notoriously bad at mounting the wings. In many cases when you get these models, the wings would be completely loose or just fall off right away when you take the model out of the box. So be sure to check it before you buy it that the wings are fully attached to your model. I'm happy to say that in this case the wings were actually as tightly attached as they possibly could. They're not going anywhere. So while this aircraft model might not have been affected by this issue, it is a general issue that Herpa is struggling with, so be sure to check it before you buy it. With that said, I would say that this aircraft model is absolutely worth having in one's collection. Now with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like. That would be very much appreciated, and of course if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. With that, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.